If you own a business, but you feel like your hair is on fire, you're going to love today's episode of Early to Rise Radio. My name is Craig Ballantyne, and I'm going to show you how to replace yourself in your business in 90 days or less using the CLEAR method, CLEAR. Now, this is what allowed me to go and transform myself from a struggling business owner who had anxiety attacks because I felt like my hair was on fire all the time, to being able to scale the business and go from working 50 hours a week to making more money and more profit in about 35 hours per week, while giving me time to, raise my 3 kids, spend more time with my wife, work out every single day, and write my brand new best-selling book. And one of the secrets to this is this 90-day reality maker blueprint. Now, this is the same reality maker blueprint that not only do I coach my clients on, but I actually use to find my wife. And I'm going to walk you through that later on, but I'm just telling you how powerful this is when it's part of the CLEAR method. Because when COVID started, I was working about 50 or 60 hours a week, and I was making about 300 grand a month. And I didn't even like the work that I was doing in those 50 or 60 hours. There's probably like 5 or 10 hours that I enjoyed, and it was a real grind. And I remember, I was living with Michelle in Vancouver. We didn't have our kids yet. And, Vancouver was really sunny that summer that COVID came around, and I didn't have enough time to spend outside because I was grinding, and it was everything that I was against, but just the business has gotten so busy that I needed to figure out how to replace myself. And so I actually sat down with my team, and we made 2021 the year for replacing Craig in the business. We called it Craigifying the business, Craig-proofing the business, so that the business would run like it does today without me being in it. And that is a game changer. And I'm going to show you exactly what we did. So today you're going to discover the first step to take to replace yourself that you can take right now today. The ADE formula for taking back time. And the one word that you need for success. Okay. The one word that is needed for long-term success. Because right now, you're doing a lot of stuff to get to 7 figures, and maybe even multiple 7 figures. But if you want to stay at that level, you have to use this word. So let's start first of all with the CLEAR methodology. And it goes like this. It's clarity, it's leverage, elimination, accountability, and then results, or results orientation. So I'm going to deep dive in each one of these. Most people, they go right to action. Okay. They just think like, I'm going to do more stuff, but doing more stuff just adds more hours to you. And you're not replacing yourself in the business if you're doing more stuff. And when I say replacing you in the business, I'm replacing your hours so that you are able to work on the business, not in the business. You're able to have more freedom, more free time, and also more financial freedom so that the business spits off greater profits. So even if you're making 100 grand a month right now and you only take home like 10 or 15 of that and you're working 50 hours, when you use the replacement formula, what you're going to be able to do is still make the 100 grand. You're going to be able to keep about 30 grand, and you're going to be working about 40, 35 hours per week. So we're giving you the financial and time freedom when you use this system. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is talk about clarity. And if you've read my new book, The Dark Side of Discipline, we talk about how important it is to have clarity rather than to try and white knuckle your way through life on discipline. Because discipline has a dark side. It's not all it's cracked up to be. And if you think that you're going to be successful on discipline alone, man, you are going to find out the hard way that not only does it not guarantee success, but in fact, it can destroy your life. Now, on the flip side, if you step back and get clarity, then you are going to get ahead. So if you haven't already read The Dark Side of Discipline, go. You can see we're absolutely crushing it on Amazon. We've only been out 2 weeks. We have 54 5-star reviews. We are number 1 in a whole bunch of categories and sold over 1,000 copies already. So go and get that book. Now, clarity. I had to be very clear with my team on what I wanted. I wanted my life to look like this. I wanted at a specific definition of the business. I wanted the business to be cranking 300, 500 grand a month and me working 35 hours per week because I wanted more time with Michelle. I had done my time working the 50-hour per weeks, but now I want to be able to shut my phone off and go to the park with Michelle. I wanted to spend more time with my dog. I wanted to figure out, we're going to get married and then we're going to have kids. And if I'm on my phone till 7 or 8 o'clock at night, man, that is not going to end up great. And I know a lot of busy, wealthy dads who have no time for their kids. They miss every game. They miss every practice. They miss every recital. They miss weekends. And listen, when you're 85 years old and you're worth $50 million, but you don't have any kids coming to see you, in the nursing home, wouldn't you rather just have $25 million and have your kids around you all the time? Like, that's where I'm going to end up probably, right? And I'm going to have more than enough money. Like, I don't even spend money on anything, but I'm going to have time for my kids and my kids are going to have time for me. And if you think that, another 10 million bucks when you already have, 20 or 30, like that's not worth sacrificing your life about. So what we want to do is we want to figure out what's your specific definition of success. So you have to create a vision, and the vision is going to walk through what you want your life to look like in 3 years from now, where you're living, what house you live in, what kind of cars you drive, what your work week looks like, what your work day looks like, what your workout routine looks like, what your family life looks like, what you do and what you don't do, the vacations that you go on, the amount of time you take off. Because if we know that, then we can work and reverse engineer to get you out of what's holding you back, whatever prisons you put yourself in with overwork or with, taking discipline too far. And I'm very passionate about this because I've seen too many of my friends lose their marriages. I've seen some lose their marriages because they chased money. And man, I grew up in a home that, my parents didn't divorce, but it was not a great marriage, not for money reasons, but for other reasons. My father being an alcoholic, being the biggest reason. But I didn't want to grow up and have my own family and marriage fall apart. And so when I see friends have their marriages fall apart, it kills me. And I've seen other friends who've had their marriages fall apart because they chased discipline down the rabbit hole and they were getting validation from people on the internet and claps on the back. But then their, wife and kids said, you have no time for us, so see you later. And you're going to see your kids every 2 weeks. Like, man, since having kids, that's the worst fear that I could ever have, is not being able to put them to bed. I just put my kids to bed for their nap right now. And I went in and sang lullaby, told a couple stories, and I'm able to do that twice a day, nap time and bedtime. I'm able to get them up in the morning. I don't miss time with them, and they're absolutely the greatest thing in my life. So you're here for financial freedom. You're here for family freedom. You're here to be able to take vacations, and you want to replace yourself in the business. And it all starts with this clarity. So here's my perfect life vision that I wrote last year. So 3 years into the future, it's going to be at Whistler Mountain. We're going to have found a 5-year home, because, right now we're kind of been bouncing around homes. We want to find a home that we want to live in for at least 5 years. We're still a little nomadic, so it's not a forever home. We want to build the coaching side of my business to 15 million bucks a year while getting me to 30 hours per week. And I want to install Daniel Woodrum as the CEO. We already have an A+ coaching team, but I haven't taken the 6-week sabbatical every year. That's free time, right? That just shows this is what my family's all about. I'm the type of person who's going to have it all and not miss out on anything because I have that clarity. So go through this exercise and get clarity, and then you can download it to your team so that they can start to raise their hand and help you out. After you have clarity, you need leverage. Leverage through OPT, other people's time. So that's on the delivery side of your business. Other people's skills on sales and marketing so that you're not doing it all. You can't take every sales call. You can't write every email to your list. People don't know this, but I taught somebody how to write the emails to my list. And then he taught somebody else to write the emails to our list. So the emails that you get as a subscriber to Early Rise are not written by me or even the person that I taught how to write emails. It's written by someone that the person I taught, they taught. Okay. So all of this, almost everything that you do can be taught to somebody else. Everything is a learnable skill, and you just need to find somebody hungry at it. The Perfect Week Formula, one of my best books, the ultimate time management book, and you can get that at craigballantyne.com/free books. If you don't have that, get it. I didn't even write it, and people thought that was my best book of the first 3. So getting other people's skill sets is leverage. It's leverage. And in this day and age, you can hire people on a couple hour basis. You don't have to hire full time. You don't have to give even if you hire somebody in marketing full time at 120 or 140 grand, you don't have to pay them 140 grand today. Don't get all freaked out by it, right? It is, it's probably $2 or $3 grand a week, but within a few weeks, they're going to be doing such a great job at sales and marketing that they're going to be bringing in 10 to 15 to 20 grand per week into the business, paying for themselves. So you got to have that abundance mindset. And then other people's connections, referrals and connections, they bring us customers, they bring us opportunity. And so you need to be leveraging. Here's my coaching staff. So years ago, I was coaching probably 35 hours a week on calls and coaching through email. And it was, I've never gotten burned out from anything, but it was starting to wear me down. And, maybe a couple more years at that speed, I might have gotten burnt out. So I brought on Daniel Woodrum as my top coach. And then this guy is just a beast on leadership. And he has built up our team of Shannon Logan's one of our coaches, Gavin McHale, he's our mindset expert, Galel Fajardo, he's our marketing expert, Daniel being the leadership expert, and me just being the person who kind of knows everybody. We bring an incredible skill set to our coaching clients. Some of our clients work one-on-one with a coach. Some of our clients get access to all of our clients through the mastermind, or all of our coaches through the mastermind. So we have it set up where we are leveraging our strengths, and none of us has to do all the heavy lifting ourselves. And it has allowed me to step out of the coaching. I only coach my $100,000 a year clients one-on-one. And so there you go. After you have clarity and you have leverage, now you can get into elimination. You can start dropping the stuff that holds you back. Again, reference to the dark side of discipline, we focus a lot on eliminating bad habits, making bad habits hard to do. Because in most cases, you're doing good stuff. You're doing $1,000 an hour tasks. But right now, you have too many $10 an hour tasks and too many bad habits holding you down from being able to spend 5 to 10 hours, 5 or 8 hours per day in the $1,000 an hour work, right? If you want to work 10 hours a day, great. You make $10,000, $1,000 an hour. So we need to eliminate. We need to automate, delegate, and eliminate. We have a complete system for this, for getting all of the things that you can automate. And, Galel, our coach, is really into AI. So he helps our clients automate. Delegation comes through Daniel and the leadership, and we get A-player agreements with team members so that you have a benchmark for a really high standard of performance, and onboarding of your team members in the way that we teach allows you to delegate at a really high level. The thing you do not want to do in elimination is abdication. Abdication is where you just say, hey, I need you to go and do sales. I'm not going to train you how to do it. I'm not going to give you any training or teaching. You just go and do sales. That's abdication of your responsibility. And that's a mistake. So you can't do that in the elimination formula, but you can automate, you can delegate, and then you just need to eliminate and stop doing a whole bunch of stuff. So think about all the things you should stop doing that nobody should be doing. Think about the areas in your business where you should fire yourself. So you might be doing bookkeeping or video editing. And I ask you, you're doing those things in your business, and your business might be a shoe store, your business might be an online nutrition supplement store, or you might be a construction company. We have a lot of construction clients, HVAC companies. We have a lot of financial services people. And if I said to any of them, hey, I notice you're editing your own videos, but you're a construction CEO or you're a financial services people. And then I said, well, I guess, I'll hire you to come and do my video editing for my business. How long would you last before I fired you? Like maybe half an hour. I'd be like, your videos suck. And yet you're video editing for the number one business in the world, which is your own business. If you're doing any jobs that you couldn't get a job doing for somebody else, and you're doing it for your own business, you should be fired. You should be fired from that. And so you have to think that way with an abundance mentality. Don't be scarcity minded and think you have to do everything. Because if you do, you'll never be able to replace yourself, and you're going to be working yourself to the grave. So fire yourself and then eliminate distractions. Again, back to the dark side of discipline. We use the effortless discipline systems of elimination, preparation, and connection to get rid of the distractions in life, whether it's pornography, alcohol, Netflix, binge eating. You have to get rid of those things. Toxic people, gossip, those things must be eliminated from your life so that you can live at a higher standard. And, I've eliminated everything from my life, all the vices, even the news that I was addicted to for so long. And I'm a free man. And, I've replaced myself in not only in my business, but I've replaced the bad habits in my life with good habits. And I just have a much better use of my time. Another way to do this is a love-loathe exercise that I learned from my mentor, Vern Harnish. So write down everything that you love doing in your business, and then write down everything that you hate doing in your business. Another word for that is loathe. And then you figure out, how can I remove the loathe things from my day-to-day? So let's say, for example, you hate doing sales calls. Well, great. If you have salespeople on your team, they should be doing the sales calls, first of all. If you don't, then that means you come to us, we help you find a commission-based salesperson. We help you train them to become good at sales. And now they can take all the sales calls. They've been taught properly and trained properly. And it's not abdication, but delegation. And now you've freed up maybe 5 hours per week of actual calls, but it's actually 10 hours because you were thinking like, oh man, I hate doing sales calls for another 5 hours every week. So now you have 10 free hours that you can dedicate to generating the leads into your business or whatever it is that you want. So write down all the things you love, and then write down the things you loathe. I love writing, I love mentoring A players, and I love calls with my top clients. I don't like meetings. I don't like filming videos, and I don't like explaining myself over and over again. So we held a team meeting, and I said, hey, I need help here. I'm really struggling. And this is how you have to do it. I need help. I'm really struggling. I feel there's too many meetings. I don't like running the meetings. I'm not very good at running the meetings. Anybody here want to volunteer at running the meetings? Daniel put his hand up, of course. And so you give an opportunity for people to take off the things you don't like. And you can even do this with your top people in your company so that they can get rid of the things that they loathe, that they shouldn't be doing, that they don't like doing. Now, listen, if you hired them to be a salesperson and they say, I hate doing sales calls, well, okay, you got a problem there. And that person is going to have to, probably leave your team. But if you have a leadership person who's being pulled into marketing, and I'm like, I don't like marketing, I just want to lead the team. well, they shouldn't be doing that. And you need to bring in the marketing team and say, hey, this person's doing this stuff. We need to find volunteers to take over the marketing so that this person can be freed up to do the leadership. The next thing we can do is this, back to the elimination part. Ask these 4 questions. What do you hate doing? What should you stop doing? What is not your job? You're doing things that are not your job. Write them all down. And then what are your distractions? Now, if money's no object, how would you fix it? Well, actually, you probably have the people on your team that could do it. And if you don't, hiring, and you can use Upwork, you can use assistantly.com, you can use fiverr.com. You might even just hate driving around. Well, you can use Uber. You can hire an Uber driver. You might not like doing your laundry. Well, you can use there's a service called Poppy in America, and you just leave your laundry out. They take it and bring it back. Or if you don't like doing cooking, well, you can do a meal prep service. If you don't like cleaning, you can hire a cleaner. You don't have to be doing the things that you hate, and you can replace yourself not only in your professional life, but in your personal life too. And then what will this give you more time to do? And what are the first steps to fixing this? So I have an entire worksheet that I filled out. I didn't like doing morning calls, so I moved them on my schedule. I blocked my schedule so I don't have any calls in the morning. I had to stop doing small podcast interviews, and I didn't delegate that to anybody because it was a waste of time. What was not my job? Video uploads to my social media, doing sales calls. I had a team. I just needed to train them better and communicate better, and I saved a bunch of hours. So by doing that, you're easily going to be able to claw back 10 hours. And again, you can use all 10 of those hours to grow your business, or you can use 10 of those hours to be with your family, or you can split it up, but you're going to be free and you're going to start replacing yourself with this system. If you want a deeper dive into that, go and read Perfect Week Formula. And again, you can get that at craigballantyne.com/free books. Now, the A part, after we've done clarity, leverage, and elimination, we get to accountability. Now, there's 2 ways to get accountability. There's one-on-one, and this is that you must have accountability to someone you deeply do not want to disappoint. This will help you move mountains in your life. Here's a guy, Sharran Srivatsaa. I get accountability to him on some of the projects I'm doing. I love the guy like a brother. I look up to him. I think he's one of the best business mentors out there, and I'm able to check in with him on a regular basis. I want to do my most amazing presentations when he asks me to do a presentation. So I go to the next level. If you don't have that, you'll struggle. If you have a goal of selling $100,000 worth of stuff, or a goal of losing 20 pounds, but you don't tell anybody, you're the easiest person to let down. So you have to have accountability. So there's one-on-one, but there's also one-to-many, which is where you get accountability from a group, from your tribe. If you are on Lonely Entrepreneur Island all the time, you are going to struggle because the people that you're around are going to drag you down to a lower level. And that never ends well. So that's why accountability is so important. So when I wanted to shift out, I had Coach Daniel, but I also had Bedros and I had Sharran that I was saying, I'm replacing myself in the business. I need you to hold me accountable on this. And they would follow up on me and they'd say, hey man, how are you doing here? When I wanted to meet my wife, Michelle, I told Bedros, and he would call me out on podcasts and go, hey buddy, long time since we chatted. How are things going finding your wife? And I'd be like, oh man, you put me on the spot here. But he called me out and I deeply did not want to disappoint him. So I was always taking action and it worked. It paid off. So make sure you have accountability. You have clarity, you have leverage, you have elimination, you have accountability, and you're going to get results because nothing else matters, right? Nothing else matters besides results. So here's one of my clients, a guy named Adam Pearson. He read the Perfect Week Formula book. He was having panic attacks. He was working 6 days a week. He said, Craig, I read your book. I need your help. And within a few months, we had him doing 4 days per week of work. He's taking Fridays off and he doubled his business from $1 million to $2 million. Then he wrote a best-selling book. Now he opened a chocolate shop with his father. It's amazing. He's got so many businesses going on, all because he used the systems that we teach and he replaced himself in the business. So you get clarity first. When you have massive clarity on what you want and how your days should look, it's easy to know what you should be doing and what you should not be doing. So then you can leverage. You can think about, listen, this is where I'm not great. I need to leverage somebody else's skill set and time, and we can start to find those people. Then you move to elimination and you get rid of all the junk that's holding you back. Because we found over the years that, again, you don't need to add more good stuff. You're already doing the right things. What's stopping you from doing more of the right things is you have bad habits. You are not delegating well, and you are doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So we get rid of the elimination. Then the accountability. This is where the coaching comes in. We hold you accountable. We become the person you don't want to disappoint. We have you in our events. You come and you share your goals with other like-minded people, positive people in our tribe. And because you're a person of integrity, you don't let those people down. So you are following through. Finally, we show you what you need to do because you probably wake up in the morning not knowing what to do. That's where the clarity comes in. And then we help you follow through because you might know what to do, but you might not be doing it, and you need the follow through. And then because of that, you get results. And so what we do with all of our clients is we build out these 90-day blueprints with your outcome goal, your process goal. And this is what I did when I wanted to meet Michelle. I wanted to do 12 dates in 90 days. It could have been 12 dates with one girl, one date with 12 girls, didn't matter. And one of the process goals was I had to dig deep into my connections, and I had to ask for help. And then through other people's connections, I was able to get connected to my wife. I had accountability through Bedros. I followed through. I got results. So that is what it's all about. And I even do this for my book launch recently. I do this for everything. And when you follow the 90-day blueprint, after doing the clarity, the leverage, the elimination, the accountability, you are going to have the results that you deserve, because I know that you're working really, really hard, but I want to replace you working in the business so that you're just working on the business so that you get ahead. That's the key. The key to getting results in every area of your life forever is to make sure you have the accountability and you follow that clear method. And you'll go from working 50, 60, 70 hours to making more money while working 30, 35, 40 hours. And you'll have more profits in the bank when you replace yourself in the business. Because listen, you're pretty smart, you're very good looking, you're a hard worker, but you're actually not the best at most of the things that need to be done in your business. And so when you leverage other people's time and skill sets, that's when your business will start to take off. That's when you'll be able to replace yourself, because you'll no longer be having like B grade level work, because again, you're not perfect at everything. So you're doing a whole bunch of stuff in your business that's B level. You need to fire yourself and bring in people that are an A level, and then your business will scale. And again, if you spend $5,000 a month on a key employee, they're going to make you $25,000. And some of that's going to go to taxes, and some of that's going to go to the salary, and some of it might go to some other expenses, but it's a whole bunch of it's going to stay in your pocket. And that's the mindset you have to have. The abundance over scarcity mindset if you're going to replace yourself in the business. Otherwise, you're going to work yourself to the bone. You're going to work yourself into an early grave, and I don't want that to happen. So here's how you're going to go faster forever. You're going to light a fire in yourself, right? You're going to get that clarity. You're going to go grow your circle and get connected with our mastermind, our coaching program, and go deeper into that community. So here's what I want you to do. We have another mastermind event coming up. I want you to drop the word mastermind down below, because you're going to be a great fit for it if you're an entrepreneur doing 7 figures who wants to replace themselves in the business. And I am looking forward to helping you do what I did so that you have more freedom, and you have more time freedom, more freedom for your family, and more financial freedom. This is Craig Ballantyne from Early to Rise Radio. If you haven't already, go and get the Dark Side of Discipline from darksideofdiscipline.com. That will also help you free up your time. And make sure that if you are serious about this, comment mastermind down below. We'll see you at one of our next events.